What is up, you beautiful, beautiful people? Unless you're not beautiful, in which case. Anyway, welcome to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always an instant classic and almost calls you ugly, but didn't. So you technically didn't get called ugly. You just, we, yeah. But it's been a pretty busy, 2 week and a half, 2 weeks for us with Mania and NXT and everything. But we did want to come on and do not a full review, but a kind of a Raw recap. The Raw after Mania is always pretty, exciting. I know a bunch of people have already done their Raw reviews, but we just wanted to come on and talk about a few things. It wasn't. I didn't think it was. It was a good Raw, but I didn't think it was anything like groundbreaking or anything like that. There wasn't anything that was like, oh my god. There was a few really cool moments, but I don't know. But so we open up with Vince coming out. He comes out to basically gloat about how Shane lost and he doesn't get to control Raw and blah blah blah. Um, the I actually don't think I've ever heard this, but the crowd was actually singing his theme music, which was kind of cool. But he basically talks about how there was a point where Shane was on the top of the cell and he almost had second thoughts about how far Shane would go to secure his legacy and everything. Um, Shane does end up coming out, which was surprising. I think we were all surprised to see Shane walking, let alone alive. Um, so he comes out. He basically says, all I wanted to say was he wanted to look Vince in the face and shake his hand. He won. Be the bigger man because he's the only man in their family. He says. Um, he says, he thanks the all the fans and just wants to come out and say goodbye. Um, Vince gets upset and he's like, you're not gonna upstage me. Nobody upstages me. It turns into somehow Shane having control of tonight's Raw, which kind of defeats the purpose of the match. What the hell? I think we figured something was going to happen anyway, but he gets control of Raw, which was exciting, to see what was going to happen. Any thoughts on the opening segment?
Yeah, I definitely it was interesting. I didn't know what to expect coming into it, but I guess people, are complaining because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Um, Honestly, I feel like what would have made more sense is, you know, Vince doesn't want him to like, outshine him or whatever. So how come Vince didn't book like half the show and then like Shane books the other half of the show, like in like just a storyline type of a thing? I thought that would have made sense because then that would have kind of pinned them against each other and kind of shown the real outshine portion. Because really, we didn't see Shane throughout the rest of the night like you usually see an authority figure, um, which was kind of interesting. But I don't know. It was definitely weird. And my only excuse, because I like making excuses, my only excuse for this was I was like, well, Triple H is, dead. No, Triple H is pretty much, just hurting at this point, I suppose. But then I was like, wait, Shane just went through Hell in a Cell and jumped off the. Okay. Because I mean, they could have made up some other better excuse. I know Triple H is hurting and all, but Shane, I don't know. I just feel like they could have made up a better excuse for Triple H. Like he's traveling, he's traveling with NXT or something, something just to like, because you're kind of like Shane jumped off the top of the step and he's still walking, you know, like it sounds like I'm buffering because I'm confused.
And I think there's way too many loose ends in this whole storyline in general, because I've heard, like, there's rumors that Taker said that that was going to be his last match anyway. So why did he lose to still be able to, come to WrestleMania in future WrestleManias if this was going to be his last match anyway? It doesn't make any sense at all. Why didn't he just lose to? It's not like it would have, damaged his reputation or it would have been bad. I know a lot of, old school guys and legends, they always say, you go out, you lose your last match. That's how a lot of guys go out when they retire. That's kind of, it used to be like a tradition. I don't get it. It was probably a Vince thing, honestly. But we another again, we're not going necessarily in order because I didn't specifically write notes, but there was things that we wanted to talk about. If there's anything that you want to talk about, DJ, let me know. Even though you're muted right now because you muted yourself. Mute. But another thing that confused me was they did the official. I guess this was the official ceremony for the women's championship, the presentation, which would have been fine. But if you were going to present it on Raw, why didn't you just present it on Raw and not have it at WrestleMania? Have that be the last Divas match and then change it over officially on Raw where everyone can see it, even if you don't have the network. To me, it just didn't make sense that they, debut the belt, but then they debut the what? I mean, maybe I'm just thinking too much into it, but it didn't make any sense to me. And then they did the whole, angle where, all the divas are there for some reason because they're all suddenly okay with the fact that she cheated to win, and they're all buddy, and Becky looked like she wanted to kill her, and I was kind of waiting for that. But all the divas end up leaving and, leaving her in the ring, and she's, you don't leave me, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just didn't like this segment, the way they booked it. Like I said, I think they just should have debuted the belt on Raw, not, basically do a double debut of it. To me, it didn't make sense. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. At first, I was gonna, and then I was like, "Oh, I'll watch it." So I started watching it, and I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of weird." I mean, I kind of, because even if they, like, I think the whole ceremony should have just been like a big tease, freaking Lita could have just Ryan Seacrest us all, and just revealed it on Monday Night Raw and been like, we got a new women's title. And I feel like they could have did it that way instead of, kind of re-debuting it. I guess you could say, because I can't remember. Did Charlotte even wear it down?
No.
Like, why would she give it up to get it? She already, but she won. But I don't know. I don't really. I don't get it. But I mean, I guess it was kind of a cool moment. You could see, more than once. I guess. Anyway, one thing I didn't like though about this is how disrespectful the crowd was. Like, I get it. Like, she's a heel. You're supposed to like not let her talk and everything, but she was like showing respect to them, like legitly. And they just weren't having it, and I just didn't like it. I don't know what it was. And maybe it was more her reaction to it, that she was actually like pretty open was reacting to it, that I didn't like. But I just didn't like it because I was like, she's trying to show respect to the fans. Like she wasn't just being a prickhole at this point. She was actually trying to show respect to the fans for kind of supporting the women. So I was kind of like, would they shut up for a second and just when she starts doing the heel stuff, go back to what you're doing. But when she's trying to show respect, that's like someone being like, the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast is the best in the world, and then we just interrupt them and we don't let them say that because
Yeah, I I don't
which
know.
we are, by the way, just in case y'all didn't get it.
We are always an instant classic. So I mean, obviously we're the best in the world. But another thing, I don't know if you got this too, but I felt like the commentators, especially Cole, and again, usually it's especially Cole, were really trying to build up like how like vocal the fans usually are the night after Mania. He's like, this is the most rowdy crowd we ever get. Listen to them, blah blah blah. And honestly, they were chanting a lot, yes, but I didn't think it was as big as they were building it up.
Well, it wasn't really their fault though, because they did it at the beginning of the show. From more of what I remember, I mean, they probably addressed it throughout the show, but for more of what I remember, they addressed it at the beginning of the show, which I actually thought was pretty cool for them to actually like address the fans, as if we aren't like peasants or something to them. But I just thought it was cool, that they kind of addressed it. I guess they did kind of build it up, and it wasn't as much as it seemed, but still, they were kind of in foresight, like predicting what was going to happen more than what they really knew.
Yeah. But anyway, we did actually have a couple debuts tonight, which were exciting, and a return. We'll get to the return a little bit later. First, the debuts we finally got.
The Rock.
No.
Oh.
He wasn't here on Raw.
He was there last night, so I was thinking because
yeah, but he wasn't on Raw. But who was on Raw? One of them is a certified G and a bona fide stud. And
I heard the other one was like 7 foot tall or something.
Yeah. And you can't teach either of those things. You can't. It's a thing you just have it. They debuted Enzo and Big Cass and completely punked out the Dudleys and went over huge. I was surprised. But I'm kind of excited. I hope that this builds up a storyline between them, that the Dudleys kind of put them over on the main roster, because I think they could do a lot of cool things with this storyline, just with both of them kind of being from the same area, New York. They could kind of do storylines based on that, and just in general, I feel like they could play off each other really well. So I'm kind of excited for that. And then another guy debuted, I think what is his name? Apollo Sucks. I mean, Apollo Crews. Some guy that I think.
Random hatred with Apollo Crews now. Yeah, like him in NXT. They're the main roster. They put a black man on the no. But I don't know. Wait, why do you think he sucks though? I'm actually curious now.
No, I don't. I feel like
we're expecting it.
Push him really like strong in the beginning and then let it go. I'm fearing it, but I actually do want them to push him really good, because he is one of those bigger guys, but he's really athletic too. So, he's not like a Ryback who.
Ryback's athletic. You see those running knees.
The man is a falling sofa, as JBL would say. Anyway, thoughts on the debuts?
I was definitely excited for Enzo and Cass. Thank you for spoiling it for me.
Yeah.
I was still definitely excited though. It's like it was kind of like a long time coming. You felt like, it seems like we've been wanting this for so long, and they just haven't given it to us. And the pop was really big for them, which is to be expected. Um, as far as Apollo Crews, I don't know why they hate Tyler Breeze so much. Of all the other jobbers, social outcast that they have, you know, they had to bring, you know, they had to let Tyler Breeze be the jobber. I mean, and my issue has always been, you can go out there and make somebody look strong. Like you can make them both look strong if you just have a good match. Like, because now you're making Apollo Crews look strong, hooray! But you're not necessarily making Tyler Breeze look any better. You know, Tyler Breeze looked really good when he first came in, and I don't. I mean, what does it matter if Vince doesn't like him? Well, Vince is the owner. Anyway, I just don't, I don't get it. It's one of those things I can't understand. If you don't believe in him as a singles guy, put him in a tag team or something. You know, like just find something to do with him. Don't like, I mean, because it just makes me mad with guys like Tyler Breeze, especially because you know we've talked about it before, and it's like beating a dead horse slash preaching to the choir at this point. But you know he has worked so hard. And number two, they like featured him in the in Breaking Ground and in the ESPN thing. I'm pretty sure a while back. So why feature these guys? Adam Rose as well. Why feature these guys and then just throw them away? I mean, we'll talk about that in our first six pack of the year or of the WWE New Year or something. You know, we'll talk about that. I'm sure that'll be at least one of our points.
Yeah,
I just don't get it.
Going along with the whole Tyler Breeze thing and Vince, I get that he's completely out of touch, whatever, but at the end of the day, what he wants is to make money. And okay, he doesn't like these guys, but just like John Cena, they're gonna make money. Tyler Breeze is gonna sell T-shirts. He's gonna sell tickets. Why would you? Okay, maybe you don't like him, his character or whatever, but the fans do, and the customer is always right. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know, but we had Roman Reigns come out. You know, he's the new champion. He comes out. Kind of had he didn't do a heel turn, but he had a little bit of. It felt like kind of a heelish character tonight a little bit. You know, he was playing off the boos. He was, you know, he said, you know, I'm not a bad guy, but I'm not a good guy. So, you know, it kind of teased a little bit that maybe he's going to have a heel turn at some point. He does an open challenge, basically to anybody in the back. Jericho came out, which I was kind of upset with because I was like, okay, so they're not going to do a heel turn if they have a Jericho feud, because obviously Jericho is a heel unless they somehow turn Jericho face and, you know, have Reigns do a heel turn. But then we did get Sami Zayn also. We got Owens and who's the fourth? I don't remember.
You said
Huh?
You said Owen, Zayn, AJ?
Oh, Miz. Miz was there too, wasn't he? No, that was later. That was later. But yeah, AJ. So basically this sets up a fatal four-way for the number one contendership for the main event. Later on in the show, Owens attacks Sami Zayn and puts him through a table, and he is not medically cleared to compete in the match because putting you through one table makes you not medically cleared, but you can go through an entire TLC match and still be medically cleared for the next night. Am I the only one who thought about that? Like, come on, really? One table and he's not medically cleared? Come on now. But yeah, so I was upset, being a Sami Zayn fan. I was like, he was so close, so close. So they said there's still going to be a replacement. Per Shane McMahon said that there's going to be a replacement. So we're waiting to find out who that was. Zack Ryder does come out, the new Intercontinental Champion. He thanks his dad, who is in the front row, and that man, no man of his age should be that jacked. That is just that. No, that man made John Cena look like a kid. I'm just saying. But he comes out. Miz comes out and basically, wants a match. Ryder agrees to the match after the Miz kind of trash talks his dad a little bit. It's a pretty good match. I didn't think it was a bad match or anything, but we got a surprise return of Maurice, which I was happy. I don't know how the Miz got her and married her, but like I'm happy she's back. She got involved and distraction. So your new Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. Any thoughts on The Miz or the segment before with Reigns?
First off, no! Sorry. The new Intercontinental Champion, baby. He should have won it the night before, but he was robbed. I saw it with my own eyes. Robbery. Miz is your new champion. But didn't they do a dad storyline with Zack Ryder before? I'm pretty sure they did. I don't know why. It just seems really familiar to me. Like, I know they did one with Cena, and you mentioned him, but no, it wasn't Cena. I'm thinking it was Zack Ryder. For some reason, it was Zack Ryder and the U.S. champion or something like that. Like for some reason, I feel like they've done this before.
I think he has been involved in a storyline before. His dad. I'll have to. I don't know.
Yeah. My only issue was that with that was like, why put the title on him for one night, just to have him lose it the next night. See, and a lot of people would be like, well, TNA did it with the EC3 Matt Hardy thing, but that was to keep the quote unquote undefeated streak of EC3 alive while he was a heel, mainly. Where this was just because screw you, Zack Ryder, you don't work hard at all. You didn't go back down to NXT just to get brought up to the main roster. You don't do that, no. But maybe, I don't know if maybe this is their thought process, but this was my thought process. Maybe it's going to be something where Zack Ryder gets really down, and he kind of needs somebody to kind of confide in to, maybe get him hype. And we have a new tag team come to the main roster. But I was just wondering, because maybe that would be a way to bring Mojo Rawley up to the main roster and kind of help Zack Ryder out a little bit and give Zack Ryder some purpose, because right now he just doesn't have any purpose. Because we all were like, who is this guy with this beard that just won the title in this ladder match? I'm not sure. Haven't seen him in a while. So we were all kind of confused, but maybe they'll do something like that. Like, because I just feel like now without the title, he really has no purpose. He's just back where he was before. Even with the title victory, didn't like elevate him at all. Obviously, he'll get a rematch. I think it's on SmackDown for the title, so that will at least keep him on the main roster. But I'm wondering, are they going to do something with him, and try to give him some purpose, because he just doesn't have anything besides the hype bros. He really doesn't have anything for me. But he's still a fun character to watch, but he's just not as relevant anymore because they don't really use him. As far as the Roman Reigns thing, I kind of like it. It's kind of an in-between type of a character he's going with right now. I think they're just kind of playing with it a little bit to see what would happen. I kind of liked it, especially when he was like, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm the guy, because it was true. I like wrestling does this a lot now. They play off like the realism of the situations a lot of the times, where like before this would be kind of, I guess you could say, breaking kayfabe. Um, and I think it's kind of cool that they try to play on that a little bit. I don't know if they're going to completely turn him heel, because I don't know how WWE feels about heels being cheered and faces being booed, because it's just like, wait, what? So I'm trying to figure out if they're like trying to keep him in between so they don't have to worry about that, because I think as soon as he turns heel, they're gonna cheer him just because he turned heel.
But I mean, it's happened for so long though. Like even The Rock, when he was a heel, used to get cheered. So it's kind of
Well, but it was one of those things where like The Rock, he was a heel and he would get cheered, but then when they turned him face, he wouldn't get booed. Um,
yeah. I don't know. Reigns is one of those guys. I don't want to hate him, but they need to change him. It's just
give him his own freaking character.
yeah.
he got like I don't know if they like had like a 3-way wishbone and he broke off the shortest piece of the bone. But like I don't like I don't understand. Like, just give him his own thing. I honestly, well, I would say I don't care what it is, but I've seen some things in the WWE archives that I don't want to go back to anymore. So give him something he can run with. Just like, I mean, I hate saying the same thing over and over again, but it's true. Like, just give the man something, but I'm the big guy from the Shield, because all he can go back to is, well, what did I say when I was the big guy of the Shield? Okay, I'm gonna say that, because there's nothing. There's like, at least Rollins had, I'm the architect. I'm the undisputed future. Ambrose, he's crazy. He's loony. He's the lunatic fringe. He's got the Ambrose Asylum. He's got his own things, whereas Rollins too has his own things. But like, Reigns is like, okay, I'm the big guy from the Shield, guys. Don't you like me?
Yeah. Like I said, I don't want to hate him, but they just need to change something about him and make me want to like tune in and be excited to see him or something. But anyway, let's just move on to, I guess, the main event, because there wasn't too much other things, I don't think, worth really talking about, except for like beach balls in the audience. Yeah, because Raw. But so we had the fatal 4-way for the number one contendership. The replacement for Sami Zayn, who is not medically cleared because he was put through one table, because WWE logic, is, yep, the Swiss Superman, Cesaro. I'm not gonna lie, I was upset that they took out Sami Zayn of the title picture, basically. They're still obviously gonna do something probably with him and Owens, but I was upset that they took him out of the number one contenders match. I don't know. It was probably Cena hurt him again, because that's what happens. But we got Cesaro, which I was excited. It feels like we haven't seen Cesaro in a long time. It probably hasn't been that long, but it seems like it's been a long time. This is a pretty good fatal 4-way. AJ Styles surprisingly got the win. I don't know if this means they're going to build him up just to bury him because Vince hates TNA, or if they're actually, going to build him up and maybe give him a title run, which would be really cool, especially, this early into his career, it feels like. It feels like guys don't get, number one contenderships this early, considering he just debuted at Royal Rumble, which wasn't that long ago. But I'm definitely excited for it. I would obviously be more excited if it was Sami Zayn. But again, this is a guy that we never thought we would see in WWE, let alone getting a shot at the WWE Championship. So that's that's always a cool thing. Any thoughts on AJ or the match itself, or Cesaro, or
Um, I was kind of fine with the Sami getting taken out just because it keeps that Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn keep going. Kevin Owens doesn't have a title anymore, so kind of keeps him busy a little bit because they like to forget about people who don't have titles. Unless you're just a person who just doesn't hold titles like Bray Wyatt, then they kind of won't forget about you. They'll just bury you, and then they'll be like, "Oh, he's back." Oh, anyway, back to this, back to where I was. I think it was cool that Cesaro came back. It was a good return. I was excited. Love Cesaro a lot. He looks like $1,000,000 in a suit. I like it a lot. I think he could be a corporate champion / just a champion in general that just happens to wear a suit. I feel like this ended up being a good match. It was surprising that AJ won. I didn't get to see the ending because my DVR was like, nope. So I didn't get to see the ending, but it was cool that AJ won. People are complaining about it because wrestling fans, that's what they do. What did he do? I know the big question was, and I had mentioned you in the post, but I don't know if you ever got to see it. It was like, what has AJ Styles done to earn a WWE championship? A shot at the title. And I'm like, well, number one, he won the number one contenders match. That's how that works. And then I was like, number two, he has, the whole everything before WWE doesn't exist. This kind of disproved it a little bit. That's why they brought him in, was because he had so much experience. And so a lot of times, if you, let's just say you're a team, for example, if you draft the right player, it can put you in championship contention immediately. So that's kind of how I was feeling about this. I just thought it was a weird question. Like, I get it, but the main reason he won the number one contenders match. Even if you think, hypothetically speaking, let's just say if you think, okay, he lost to Jericho because he's not qualified to even have the shot at the shot. If you're given the opportunity at the shot, you take advantage of the opportunity, the shot of the shot, and shot. Oh, sorry.
The thing about that is, like, they're saying, what has he done to earn this, this opportunity, this chance? If Owens won, or if Cesaro won, what have they done more? I mean, yes, Cesaro's been in WWE longer, but
Kevin Owens beat John Cena.
They both came up in the Indies. They both have wrestled all over the world. There's not much that any of them have done that the others haven't done.
And I guess you could say the same thing. And really, to a certain degree, when you get your first shot, what have you done? Really, when you get your first shot, if you look at Roman Reigns when he got his first shot, what had he done to get his first shot at the title? He broke. He's not a part of the Shield, but still is in love with the Shield. Like, that's about it. So I feel like it's kind of one of those situations where it's like. And it's kind of one of those situations where, do wrestling fans even know what they want? They're like, oh, we want someone different going after the title. Woo! Someone different goes after the title, and we get complaints.
Yeah. But anyway, two other things I thought about that I wanted to go over. One, with Maryse, I'm kind of wondering if she's back, if she's actually, signed to a contract, and if so, if she's going to actually compete, because that would be cool. I thought she was pretty good in the ring back when she was competing. I thought she was one of the – she wasn't great, but, her matches I felt like were watchable. So that could be, something good, because if you think about it, obviously the Bellas are retiring. I don't know who else might be leaving, but you got to replace those spots, and you can't take everybody from NXT, because then you'll have nobody in NXT. So that could be, she could fill a spot there too, I guess. But then again, I don't know if she's actually signed to a contract, or if that was just a one-time thing with the Miz, or if she's just going to be his like valet or whatever. But also, the League of Nations lost a member. Well, they kicked out a member. They kicked out the king. They kicked out King Barrett, and it makes sense because he's gonna be leaving, I guess, WWE. But I don't know. I wasn't sure how I felt about this. Storyline wise, they could do a lot of things with this before he leaves. But I mean, they weren't really using him anyway in the League of Nations, so it's kind of he could they could kick him out and he could be like, hey, I was better than any of you bums anyway. And I don't know. What's your thoughts on either of those things?
It made sense. First off, Maurice. I don't know. I'm wondering about that too. I'm wondering if she's going to be kind of a valet for Miz. I don't know if she really wants to return to the ring, or if she's going to kind of come back or not. That's kind of interesting. Kind of one of those things to give you a chance to just kind of think a little bit. What do maybe what you think will happen? As far as I forgot the last point already.
The king.
The king, yeah.
King.
Macho Man. No.
Not that one.
Jerry, right?
No.
Oh.
Barrett. Bad news.
Oh, okay.
The bad news one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I wasn't surprised they got rid of him just because obviously, like you said, he's leaving. We all know he's leaving. But I kind of just feel bad for him because screw you, Barrett. You're leaving. Bye. We'll make you look real bad before you leave. I don't know. I just think it's crazy. I don't know if there's gonna be like a rebellion storyline where he kind of tries to fight back, against the League of Nations or something. He's used to making his own groups, which I don't think is gonna happen. But I'm kind of curious to what they're gonna do if they're gonna continue a storyline there, or if Barrett's just gonna disappear because WWE can do that.
Yeah. We also saw an appearance from the Wyatts, which kind of felt like they were building the Wyatts up again. The Wyatts are on this roller coaster where it's like they get built up and then they get buried, and then they get built up and then they get buried, and then they get built up and then they get buried. And WWE needs to decide what they're doing, if they're going to use the talent that they have or if they're just going to, let them fade out. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on the Wyatts tonight.
It was. I think I skipped the segment. But it was cool to see them kind of get back on top. But my only thing with situations like this where like you have a situation where you have somebody get buried by legends and then come back and kind of wreak havoc. It's a weird situation because like they have to come back from that. Whereas the legends, if Stone Cold, wait, who were the legends that attacked him last night? I missed it. I forgot. Tony.
Austin, Mick Foley, and
okay, that's who it was then. But yeah, they don't have to, like, the legends don't have to live with it the next day. Yeah, well, technically, but like on TV, they don't have to live with it the next day. So like my thing with that is, I think you should always keep in mind like who's got to deal with it that next time. Because I know CM Punk mentioned this in his interview or whatever. He was like, I had to get beat by Brock, and then I'm the one that's got to face it the next day, not Brock. So if I beat Brock, I can come out and brag and brag and brag, but it's kind of hard to lose to someone and then be like, oh, well, I lost. Okay, then, and he's not there, so you can't like continue the feud or anything. So that's kind of how I was feeling about that. I was just like, they kind of are the ones that has to deal with it. So it kind of sucks for them because what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, and I think it's just confusing to the fans because it's like, okay, so now they're built up again. What are we supposed to like? Are we supposed to take these guys seriously or not? Because there's so many mixed signals. We want to, take them seriously and see them get a push because, except for, okay, Bray Wyatt's the only good one left.
Hey,
after.
Harper's real good.
I mean, yeah, but he's injured,
That's true.
so technically he's not there. So Wyatt's the only good one there right now.
Eric Rowan is really good. Future world champ.
How many times did they push him?
That one time when he called Big Show a bully.
And not push him over a cliff, because that doesn't count, because that's all they're doing with him. We need somebody to job. Hey, Rowan, what are you doing tonight? But anyway, yeah, that was pretty much Raw. It was exciting as all Raws after Mania are. I felt like there wasn't as many like there was some surprising debuts, but we still didn't get any thing from the Balor Club. We didn't get a bunch of returns that we thought we were gonna get. We didn't get any debuts that we thought we were gonna get. There was no Bayley debut. The Vaudevillains are going to be debuting on SmackDown. I was thinking about it actually today. I think, if they are going to do a Balor Club thing, I know Finn still has a title for some reason, because I don't know. But it would be cool if they actually did it on SmackDown, because that would kind of, give more people a reason to watch SmackDown. Obviously they already have, if you're a fan of the Vaudevillains, you already have a reason this coming Thursday to watch SmackDown, because they're going to be debuting. Throw another debut on there to get us excited about SmackDown again. I don't know what you think about that, having debuts on SmackDown, but
yeah, that, I mean, like one of my points for a future video that might be coming up. Wink, wink. Yeah, I think definitely that would be a good idea, because there you go. That's the exact connection I want from Raw to SmackDown. Instead of making SmackDown be Raw 2.0, make SmackDown be a legit, not necessarily a legit brand. Like, you don't necessarily need a brand split, but especially with all the injuries. But just kind of let it be, maybe Raw amplified a little bit, or maybe Raw extended. Maybe like, okay, this is Raw Part 1. Let's go Raw Part 2 instead of Raw again. Like make it like seem like it's like parts of Raw or something like that. Like I think the debuts thing would be really cool, because that would definitely help. That would definitely help people go over and watch SmackDown a little bit more often, because you got something to look forward to. Like I probably still won't get to watch it, but I want to watch the Vaudevillains debut on SmackDown. So
yeah, but anyway, we're gonna wrap this one up and put a bow on it and put it under the Christmas tree for next year, because Christmas was a couple. Anyway, that was a bad analogy. That was almost like a pistachio analogy that I seem to remember. But anyway, we are going to be back pretty soon for another video, another series we're starting, probably a weekly thing, hopefully. Hopefully every Tuesday we'll do it. The hell is on my TV right now?
Wow.
Hey,
see, I didn't know you could sing while talking.
Yeah, you know what? This is why WWE needs to hire us. We're multi-talented. But anyway, we will see you on the dippity that is sometimes, most of the time, flippity. And you should subscribe to us so you can see more videos, and you should follow us on Twitter, because we don't do anything on Twitter. But we reply to your messages like 2 days later. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that message on Twitter from Amy about what our favorite WrestleMania moment.
I think I responded to it.
Oh, well, I did too. I was like, okay. But anyway, do all those things and like and share and comment and stuff. We will see you in moments or days or months, depending on when you watch the next video or another video that we've done, Because it's YouTube. You can watch it whenever you want, really. As long as we get views, we don't care when you watch it. You can watch it tomorrow, tonight, yesterday. Well, you can't watch this one yesterday because that would not work. But we will see you on the thing that I'm not going to say because somebody doesn't like flippity dippities.